Hi, I'm Travis with Black Ring Tactical, and today we're going to talk about dry firing. Dry firing is a perfect way to hone your pistol skills without actually having to go to the range. So the first thing you need to do to start dry firing is clear your weapon. Magazine is empty. There's actually a snap cap loaded in my gun, which is a dummy round. There's no real bullet, there's no propellant, no real primer, anything like that. It's basically just a chunk of metal that's been machined to look and act like an actual bullet. So my spare magazine also has snap caps in it. First thing you got to do, clear your gun, make sure there's no ammunition near you at all. No ammunition on your body. Take all of your live rounds, put them in a drawer somewhere, put them in another room, get all of the live ammunition out of the way. You do not want to have an accident. Second thing you need to do, pick a good backstop. Make sure that if you are going to dry fire and you should, for whatever reason, have an accident, you don't want that round going through a wall and hitting somebody or doing any damage to anybody's property. So pick a good direction that you need to orient to dry fire in that direction. That way you don't actually, if you do have an accident, you don't hit anything. So there is tools that you can buy to help you with dry fire practice outside of just snap caps. One of those tools that I really like is a Sirt gun. These are not cheap. They're actually pretty expensive. They're almost 300 bucks. And really what it is just a glorified laser pointer. They are really, really good for diagnosing shooters' problems. I'll get people that will have recoil anticipation. They flinch real bad right before the gun goes off. They're able to get that good draw, the good presentation. They come out, everything looks good, their grip's nice. They put their finger on the trigger and they start to go, and what do? They try and fight the recoil before it even happens. They're scared of the explosion. It's a natural human instinct. A lot of people do it. It's really hard to train out of people, but the more that you shoot, the more that your body goes, okay, well, this isn't a bad thing, and you're able to kind of ignore the explosion and just let it happen. And this can help me diagnose that problem if you have it. Also, you can see if someone's finger isn't on the trigger right, it'll go left or right. Lots of different things that you can do with that, but like I said, they are almost 300 bucks and they are expensive. So when you begin dry firing, after everything's all nice and cleared, pick a target. Pick a light switch on the wall. I've used all kinds of stuff. I've even sat in front of the TV, and every time that there's a 0 or an O that comes up on the TV, you know, I'll sit there and I'll shoot at that. I don't have a super fancy, expensive TV, so even if I did send a round through it, I'd be out, you know, a fairly cheap TV. So other than that, I do have targets on the wall behind me. Sometimes I will come in here and I'll grab the Sirt gun and I'll practice shooting dry firing with the Sirt gun. You're able to see exactly where that laser's going. I don't know if you can see that if I was in the way or not, but I'll change the camera angle here in a minute and we'll do that. Also, with dry firing, reloads. You can come up, shoot, reload your gun. You can practice that. You can practice setting up different malfunctions. You can take and put a snap cap in your gun and another one in your magazine. Draw your gun up. Shoot. Oh, it went click. So what do you do when you get a click? Tap the magazine, wrap the slide to the rear, go back to shooting, right? So things like that you can practice with dry firing. It's invaluable. Every professional shooter does it. Anybody that takes shooting seriously, they all dry fire practice, and it's great. It's free. You don't have to pay for the range. You don't have to buy ammo. You don't have to buy anything. All you need is your gun, a holster, whatever. You don't even have to use your holster. I'll sit on the TV sometimes, you know, and sit there and, you know, click, you know, at the TV, just practice over and over and over again. It's great. So here in a second, I will show you the Sirt gun and how that works, but I'm going to have to move the camera to do that. Okay, now that I have the camera moved, and you're able to see this target in front of me right here, I'll show you a little bit about this Sirt gun and why I like it so much. So when you get a shooter that comes up, they'll place the sights on the X, press the trigger, stays right about there. Pretty good shot. So if you get someone that is using too little trigger finger. They're placing the trigger right along the tip right here. Usually what you'll see is this. They'll go off to the left. If they're using too much trigger finger, if they're sticking their booger hook way into the gun like this, and they go to shoot, it'll usually go off to the right. You get somebody that places it somewhere in the middle, wherever's comfortable for them, you're going to get that right there. You can diagnose people that are tightening up their fingers. You can diagnose people that have just come off the range. I'll have them shoot a few rounds. If they're consistently hitting low down here, I'll have them shoot a few rounds with their gun. I'll give them this right away. They'll get up there and they'll do this. See how that works? Right before it goes off, they'll push down and fire the round because they're trying to fight that recoil. Healing, they'll come up here with their gun and they'll push like that. You can diagnose a lot of different problems with that Sirt gun, but the one thing that it doesn't really diagnose is someone that has that real bad recoil flinch. Even though I'll interrupt their shooting with this, and they'll come in and they'll say, okay, cool, they'll push down and then they'll shoot. Like that. They'll sit here and they'll get it over and over and over again so that they hit the X, and they'll go, okay, cool, I give them a real gun back, they know that it's gonna go bang, and they'll be shooting down like that again. So the Sirt guns are great if you can afford one. You can diagnose your own problems. You can pull that thing out of your holster, shoot all you want with the laser. There's another setting on it so that when your finger actually hits that wall right here, it turns the bottom laser on, and then when you press the trigger, the top laser comes on. So I'm able to see if people are slapping the trigger because they'll do this. Both of them will pretty much come on at the same time. What you want to see is this first, and then the trigger breaks. Otherwise, they're slapping the trigger, and that round's going all over the place. And I'm only at a few feet right now, but even though I'm hitting in the X, multiply that out to 15 yards, they're going to be way off. They'll be over here. So, Sirt guns are great. Dry fire is invaluable. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sitting there, pulling out your gun, click, tap, rack, oh, I'm out of rounds, pull that out, grab a spare mag, put it in, go back to work. All different types of things that you can do with dry fire. You can set up malfunctions and everything else like I talked about. It's really cool. Everyone that takes shooting seriously does it. And I encourage you to dry fire. Just make sure that you are safe. Do not have an accident. Not only will you be embarrassed, you could face legal trouble if you do have an accidental or a negligent discharge. So, till next time, stay safe. Thanks for watching.